Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Hero Class Showcase. And today, I'm very happy to show you guys my personal favorite defender in this game, and that is going to be the Lone Exile, a class that is really effective at maintaining aggro, but also surprisingly versatile, which we'll be getting into when I talk about how the playstyle for this character can branch every which way. So, me personally, my history with defenders has been a very long and enjoyable one. I've always enjoyed playing as tanks, both in Xenoblade and other RPGs. In Xenoblade 2, one of my go-tos was playing as Tora and Poppy. In Xenoblade 1, I spent a lot of time pretending to be a tank as Ricky. And in this particular game, well, we don't have Ricky or Tora, but we do have Ashera, so that may as well have to do. Now, the thing about this particular class is that it benefits, of course, like most classes, having aggro on them. They're very effective. They have a kit that lets them do that effectively, but this also gives you extra damage for fighting against enemies that are, one, higher levels than you, but also ones that are attacking you specifically. And this is what I mean when I say that there is some versatility that can be made for them. You can play them as a dodge tank, you can play them as a face tank, where you take damage, but then you return the damage back at them with your attack stat. This is a really decent jack-of-all-trades kind of class, specifically because they can do well with any different kind of playstyle. You can have them with more agility, with more crit rate, with more block rates. It really can do quite a few different things. Granted, more effectively in some places than others, that's just the way that game balancing works, but it is nice to have the option, and if you're playing on lower level difficulties, then this can really shine through that versatility. And the other thing I like about this too, the way that I like to play it is in such a way where I'm constantly canceling my arts. I love that punchy feeling of canceling your arts every which way, like in Xenoblade 2, and I'm bringing that back by force. That's right, Xenoblade 2 is back by force. This is a Xenoblade 2 showcase in everything but name, so we'll be getting into that when I talk about the accessories, the skills, and the arts. But first, I'll start things off with the gems. Like I said, this is a very versatile class. You can do it with any of the defenders, and it would still work, like Ultimate Counter. You could also potentially go for Seal Protection, combining this with an accessory. I believe it takes you to like 80 to 85% block rate, which is really good. But, of course, the Tailwind is just too useful to not have. More agility means more dodging and more accuracy. Actually, no, maybe not accuracy, but definitely dodging things. And the more you dodge things as a tank, the more you fill up your talent gauge, and that lets you maintain an offensive presence. So Tailwind is going to be the one to pick. Like I said, I love having a playstyle where I'm constantly canceling my arts, so Empowered Combo, extra 75% damage to my abilities whenever I cancel them. I definitely want to have that. Next up is going to be Analyze Weakness. There is surprisingly good critical rate on this particular class, and I want to take advantage of that too. Critical rate means that I can do more damage with the talent gauge specifically, but there are also arts that do benefit from having higher critical rate, so I want to take advantage of that too. Now, going over to the accessories, this kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about with the versatility of playstyles, and that is embodied in the Chaotic Memory. Chaotic Memory, it lets you have arts not be if I cancel into an art, it cannot be blocked or it cannot be evaded. It's all but guaranteed. The only time canceling is not guaranteed is when I get like a hit with a break or a hit with a topple or I get pulled or something. If something happens to Mio that prevents her from doing things, then it will not work. But if I cancel into an ability that hits multiple times and draws more aggro or build talent gauge really fast, then I will be giving the full damage to the target in this case. I've also given her the Thermo headgear. This just means more critical rates. Like I said, a surprising amount. As you can see on the screen right now, I have a 45% critical rate. That is more than some attacker classes, specifically the Full Metal Jaguar, so that's what we're looking at. I also have the Eovis rings. This is one of the Legacy of the Seven. You get this in the area next to where you do Tyon's Ascension quest, but if you do not have this, that is fine. You can always downgrade to any of the Titanium gears that give you like 30% agility. So, feel free to downgrade, but definitely work your way towards this if you can. Now, going over to the arts, and this is where we can have a lot of fun. Like I said, I love canceling, love the art canceling, and because we have the chaotic memory and the empowered combo, it's going to be very effective. So, I have the Soaring Tempest. This is one that is built into this class. It is a Kavesi class, meaning it is time recharge, but thankfully, we have plenty of options that will let us charge these much faster, and it'll be like playing Xenoblade 2, I promise. So, the nice thing about this one is that it is a launch. Launch means crown control, meaning enemies will not be attacking you as much, and because they're not attacking you, they're not attacking your party members. So, yeah, launch is just really, really useful overall. We also are going to be using this in conjunction with the Mighty Beat, hitting them with a smash. Specifically with this skill from the Lost Vanguard, it's going to give more aggro, not just because of the additional effect that you see on the bottom right of the screen, but also because Smash just generates aggro really, really effectively for attackers, so we definitely want to have this. I know they're on the same row. I actually personally do not use them so much in the fusion combo. For those guys that don't know, if you use this fusion combo of a launch and smash on a toppled enemy, you'll launch them and immediately smash them when it's done. That is very all well and good, but I do like the idea of just canceling everything individually so that we're constantly moving. It's more fun that way for me, and all things considered, that if you do a successful cancel, your Agnian skills will charge faster too. Demon Slayer, this is, again, another essential skill. Gives you more aggro generation. You want to have this. You're going to be using this as often as you can to make sure you maintain aggro over your opponent. And honestly, there aren't really any great alternatives as far as lone exile skills go. I mean, Eye of the Storm sounds good. Jaws of Death also sounds good, but I would rather stay on the offensive and constantly be attacking, so I would stick with the Demon Slayer. Gale Slash is a wonderful skill. If you were fighting against enemies that are targeting you, you're going to fill your talent gauge really, really fast. As long as you cancel into this, all of the swings that you do are going to land. They cannot be blocked or evaded thanks to chaotic memory, and yeah, like, you're going to be firing off your talent gauge really, really often as long as you're playing properly and getting all of your cancels down. When it comes to the other Agnian master skills, Aerial slash Jekyll Claw, they're practically the same thing, exact same effect. Jekyll Claw does a little bit more damage. Honestly, yeah, this thing just, I want to take advantage of that critical rate, but the best thing about this, though, is that you can evade enemy attacks while these are both active. This is very, very important because if you're playing as a tank and you evade damage, whether it is because they couldn't land a hit on you because of your agility stats, or because they were trying to hit you during this, during the activity of these arts, you're going to build up your talent gauge. So there are so many things in play that will build up your talent gauge that you're going to be constantly active. And of course, you can cancel into your talents gauge, and that'll also be guaranteed hits. Speaking of, here we go. A skill that needs no introduction. It's the default dance from Xenoblade 1. Born in the world of strife, against the odds, we choose to spam the heck out of this thing. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. The Blossom Dance is fantastic. Lots of aggro generation. You are going to maintain commanding position over the battlefield, and you're going to be using this often. And like I said, as long as you're canceling this into this from either an auto attack or from another art, yeah, guaranteed hits means guaranteed aggro generation and guaranteed damage. And this thing ignores defense. It's a really, really good skill. You're going to be using this a lot. And it's so much fun, too. And it's part of the reason why this is such a fun class. I think that's pretty much all I can say. Oh, right, I also got to point out the skills. The main things about the Lone Exile, it's pretty clear what they want you to do in this one. It's just ferocity and barbarism. Yeah, like if your allies are being attacked, we do have a contingency plan, which we'll quickly talk about soon. But basically, if any of your allies get hit, you will do attack damage. The Lone Exile has a surprising amount of attack damage for being a tank, so yeah, definitely want to take care of that. Keep that in mind whenever you're playing. Natural selection, this is a contingency plan for in case maybe you are feeling a little bit of the heat. You should be able to tank most things anyways. But if you can't avoid things for whatever reason, this is going to help keep you alive until your healers are able to address that. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over the master skills because that's the most important thing. The Cypher Edge, you get this from the Sword Fighter. This boosts your critical rates. Of course, we want to try to inch that up as best as we can, which I have chosen to do. I also have the Ultimate Qigong, and this particular one you get from the Thaumaturge, and I really like this one. So the great thing about the Ultimate Qigong is that you basically can bring some enemies to even negative defense values, so you're going to do so much damage despite the fact that you're mainly a defender. But because the Lone Exile already has critical abilities built in, we have some abilities that do bonus damage for fighting enemies targeting us. This particular skill, you're going to see a lot of mileage out. Generally speaking, though, you kind of want to have this on anyone that does plan to attack with physical abilities, because it's just that good. It's probably one of the best skills in the game, too, so yeah, what are you waiting for? Get that. Okay, finally, here is the contingency plan that I was talking about. You get this from the Guardian Commander, Xeon, Protector's Pride. If ever you find yourself in a situation where your allies are not being defended by you, or if you find yourself in a situation where there are many targets, meaning that someone is being targeted, this is going to fill in the charges really, really quickly. And because we have several very, very fast to charge Agnian skills, yeah, you can see where this is going. We're constantly building up aggro. If ever we find ourselves in a situation where someone needs help, then we can do that just fine with them. And again, we have chaotic memory, so as long as we're getting the cancels down, all of those hits will land, and all the aggro will be had. So, yeah. Okay, I want to quickly go over my party members. I have two ogres in the form of Noah and Uni, and they are currently outfitted with break brooches, gust bracelets, and fraternal badges. Or at least in the case of Uni, but both of them have break brooches and gust bracelets to make sure that they have immediate access to the break, topple, and launch abilities. I currently have him as a daze for some reason, don't worry, I'll switch that later, but he also has the talent gauge for pressure drop, so that is something to consider. The Ogre has a skill called Fury Smash that lets them have more frequent and more consistent breaks, which is very, very important. That's really all you need to know as far as they go. I mean, like, I want to make sure that I have access to launches and smashes as often as possible. One, because it lets us do more damage, but two, because Mio can generate aggro a lot more consistently that way. Okay, going over to my two Signifers, I'm cheap. I have two Signifers because I just love the class so much, so I've got to have this. So, the Signifers, basically, as you can see, that Mio, we have, we may have 443 agility, but having more evasion is always a good idea. So the Signifer buffs will help augment that even further and make Mio even more unkillable. So that's exactly what we have here. They're both outfitted with the fraternal badges in case things go south. You see kind of a recurring thing here, Protector's Pride, fraternal badge. We do not want anyone but Mio to have the attention on them, and that's exactly what these accessories are outfitting for. I do want to point out, too, that I have the Swift Song ability, so again, this is another thing that increases Mio's effectiveness, because it increases the evasion by 20%. You should only have this on one character, because it does not stack, so yeah, just want to point out that too. The survivability is going to go through the roof with this. In fact, for today's video, I plan to have 3 Signifers, because I'm just that cheap, so please look forward to it. Okay, and finally, Seta as the Soul Hacker. I love the Soul Hacker class. We need to have more attackers. We can't just have the ogres and Mio do all the damage. We need a Soul Hacker to do some things too, and this is going to make the video a lot less lengthy, and that's what we're going to be doing here. So in terms of Ashera herself, there's not really much else I could say about her that hasn't already been said by many other people. She is one of the most useful heroes in the game. If you love to use her, by all means use her, she's great. Her heroic chain is extremely good because, yeah, if you finish, if you go past the threshold of like 99% with her as the last one, she'll automatically boost you to 200%, which is really, really good. You're going to get 3 characters back immediately, except for her. So yeah, you can build up your damage really, really consistently when it comes to the chain attack multipliers because of all those wonderful values that she gives you. And then there is her heroic order, which of course is another thing that just super boosts the chain attack damage values even further. So I mean, like, if you're very chain attack centric, that's exactly the kind of person you want to have on your team. But for today's video, part of the reason why I like the lone Exile's canceling, or constant canceling, is because I don't really want to use a chain attack in the, as, you know, I do want to use them sometimes, but sometimes it's fun to take a break and actually just go toe-to-toe with your enemies, be up in their face, constantly cancel the abilities, and just bash their faces in up close and personal, and that's exactly what I want to do here instead of doing chain attacks. And it makes it more fun for you guys as the viewer, I like to think, because it's not just me pressing plus and then using Senna to smash the enemy into the ground, immediately killing them. So yeah, I'm going to be switching out Ashera for Fiona, because 3 Signifers is better than 2. And yeah, we're going to do the demonstration, show you guys just how fun it is to use a character that doesn't rely completely on chain attacks to get the job done. So here we go. Alright, so for today's demonstration, we're going to be fighting against a boss that the Switch hardware has no business running, but they do it anyways, and that's why we love Monolithsoft so much. So the thing about this particular boss fight is that it is going to be the King Kings. There's 2 targets that we gotta fight against, and they do summon help. Meaning that the allies are going to be attacked, the non-defenders will be targeted, and the Protector's Pride is going to kick in. Not to mention that this is a very, very good opportunity for us to showcase how effective this class is without the need for chain attacks, because there is no interlinking for Ouroboros this time around. So most of the launch strats that we have for chain attacks, it is entirely possible to do it still, but doing it with the Ouroboros is not an option, and doing Ouroboros orders is not an option either. So yeah, this is a really, really nice area overall. It's a really neat dungeon filled with dangerous enemies, a little bit of a story going on with the Igna and Turkan conflicts, and it culminates in this and a Legacy of the Seven treasure at the very end. So here we go. Ooh, by the way, one thing I also want to point out is that this particular fight does cause the camera to get a little bit wonky. I'll do my best to try to juggle between commentating this fight as well as maintaining the camera and getting all my cancels down. So this is going to be a challenge in many, many different ways. Here we go. Always focus on the right, fight against Conqueror Deepwan. Conqueror Deepwan is the one that is going to draw in the entire party with this chain that you see right now. And in doing so, any sort of effort that we had towards the Turkan King is going to be ineffective, or it's going to mean very, very little. So it's best that we just focus this guy down as often as we can. Since we have Signifers on our team, since we have 3 Signifers on our team, we can just focus on getting our cancels down. They can focus on doing the heals, and we can focus on making sure that we make the full use of our arts. There's not really much I can say when it comes to timing. There isn't really that much need for timing. If you mash it out, you're going to get it just fine. But of course, timing can be a little bit awkward too, since some of these are time recharge. So sometimes you won't be able to just easily mash them out because they won't be available, but we make do with what we got. Just make sure you keep an eye on Deepwan. I know you're constantly looking at your arts to make sure that they're available, but as long as you're looking at Deepwan, making sure that you're in auto attack range, you kind of got to be really, really close to him to make this work. But as long as you're doing that, though, you should be able to be okay. Oops, wrong. Yeah, because you want to make sure you're in auto attack range so you can properly do your auto attack cancels too, right? Okay, so yeah, we see that things are getting a little bit hairy. We should probably be more aggressive with this deep one while we still can. Because, again, everyone else is being targeted too. And the nice thing about Protector's Pride is that it also affects talent gauge buildup. So we can take full advantage of that if we can. But like I said, we have 3 Signifers on our team. They're constantly buffing us. We didn't even need to open up the fight with them either, which is nice. It's nice to break away from tradition sometimes. This is so bad for the camera right now, but we'll do our best. We got him in a corner, and this is doing wonders for the camera work right now, but as you can see, I'm mostly just focused on maintaining the arts. As soon as they become available, I'm just firing them off and hoping for the best. And occasionally checking to make sure that I'm actually canceling them properly, otherwise this entire thing doesn't work. Yeah, and if all else fails, just look up close. Oh, I could not get that cancel down. Okay, deep one's almost down, and then once that is done, there's that smash. Is Gale Slash into Blossom Dance? No, not quite. Couldn't get all the hits. That's okay. That was a horrible camera angle, but we zoom out a little bit. And because someone else is being targeted again, it's gonna be so fast to recharge all of these. Absolute chaos right now, isn't it? Can I get the smash in time? Yes, I can. And hopefully, that should do enough to get us some aggro. Yeah, here comes all those vaunted reinforcements, but that's okay, because as long as there's reinforcements, I can recharge like crazy. Like, there's so many particle effects, it's really hard to see what's going on, but Mio's just going berserk right now. Get that cancel? Oh, I couldn't get the cancel. Okay, try this again. Okay, just cycle through, honestly, like, cycle through the Agnian skills first, because if you cancel your Agnian skills and Kavesi skills, the Agnian skills are going to charge really, really fast, so you can keep it going. I actually had a lot of fun with that one, but the camera angle was awful, so do you know what? We're going to try to do it again, shall we? Let's do it again. Also because I wanted to talk about it a little bit more too, to give you guys a better idea of how this works. Okay, so we're gonna do round 2, and I'm going to be using a strategy that's a little bit more consistent, just as far as survivability goes, because like I said, this Lone Exile works really, really well, but it wouldn't hurt to start things off with a Signifer. Give yourself as many buffs as possible. Focus down deep one, but then when you see the chains disappear, then that's when you want to turn your attention over to the other Turkin. That's kind of the gimmick of the Kings, but I wasn't able to show that off properly because they died relatively quickly. Here we go. So again, we got focus down deep one, start things off with a talent gauge. I'm just going to do fusions for all of the Signifer's abilities. And because, yeah, we have the fraternity badge, the cooldowns for the talent gauges can go by really, really fast. Make sure we get a cancel. Okay, now that I have two... Okay, now that I had 2 of my talents fired off for the Signifer, I'm going to switch over to the... I'm going to start switching over to the smaller enemies, focusing them down. Oh, actually, that's just part of their attacks, isn't it? Okay. Just want to make sure that we have both of them. Sorry, I made a mistake. I thought that like they just summoned help, but it's literally just part of their attack. There we go, try it again. Get close. And remember, you want to focus on your Agnians first, because they recharge as long as you cancel. And since they recharge as you cancel, they're going to be the ones that loop the most, or they end up overlapping if we're comparing the speeds of them. So yeah, you're going to constantly be attacking. And because two of our abilities are evades, we actually have more opportunities for us to gain our talent gauge, as you saw just now. Again, get close. And cancel into another Blossom Dance. Again, just showing Deepon what's what. Absolutely bullying. And like I said, we also do have three Signifers, so we don't have to worry so much about healing people either. Oh, except for me. Okay, let's just quickly assess the situation. Thankfully, we have a launch, so that's going to buy some time. Okay, here we go. One auto attack should be enough to fill in both of our Agnian skills. Get in close to make sure that you can do them immediately. Okay, here we go. Again, just focus down the Agnian skills first on the left side. Yeah, you see, like, those Agnian skills, they recharge so fast. Could not get my smash in time. That's okay, we'll replace that with a Blossom Dance. Do some sizable damage to Deepon while we still can. Look how fast those skills go. Okay, so the moment you see someone else being aggro, just switch your attention over to King Kraken. And that should be good. Switch back over to Deepon, because sooner or later he's going to try to pull us back in. Surprising amount of strategizing for this one, considering how much mashing is going on. But that's really all you do have to worry about, though, is that every once in a while, switch your target to someone else. There's another Blossom Dance, and again, because Blossom Dance generates so much aggro, this is basically one for us by now. This is just picking up the rest of the pieces of this fight. Alright, let's see what skill comes first. Yeah, and that smash damage also does a lot to really make this fight go by a lot faster. That's part of the reason why I want to bring that Soul Hacker, is that smash damage. Ooh, Blossom Dance for the kill? Ooh, almost! But that was a picture-perfect ending for what was a very, very messy fight. But yeah. This is a really, really nice fight, though. And that does it for the two demonstrations that I did. Like I said, the actual class of the Lone Exile is surprisingly versatile. There is offensive and defensive capabilities, both. And honestly, it's probably one of the most fun things to do when it comes to just going through regular content, fighting against regular enemies. I know a lot of people complain about chain attack music. I don't mind it myself, but the fact that you don't have to always rely on chain attacks to get results, and the Lone Exile build that I use is a pretty decent example of that. How you're able to just play the fight like normal, mash away, press buttons to your heart's content, and still come away with a good result. So, yeah, guys, thank you very, very much for joining me on today's episode of the character showcase for Xenoblade 3. And I hope to see you guys next time as we continue to look through more of the heroes and ways that we can expand our play, break away from the usual routine, try something new. And I hope to show you guys some more of that too. Until then, take care.